everybody. Welcome back to the You Don't Understand podcast. So, for this week's episode, we decided to just like pick a new topic. And it's honestly, we picked this topic because I was just going through something and we were like, might as well just talk about it on the podcast. But a huge thing that a lot of young adults, teenagers, basically everyone at some point or the other deals with is anxiety. And we wanted to talk about how you can deal with any type of anxiety, any type of overthinking, something like that, um, through maybe a different perspective than what most viewers are used to hearing when it comes to dealing with anxiety. So I'll pass it over to you, Mama. You can help us segue into our conversation.
Yeah, that it's literally so spontaneous that I know you're going through something right now, and that's how real our lives are. That's exactly what I want to bring to this podcast is that you're really coming from an absolutely everyday life and the issues we have dealt with in the past. And right now, currently, that's exactly what's on your mind. And right before we started the podcast, you were talking about it, and you came up with this thing that why don't we talk about it today? So even before I say something, I really want, because I know that anxiety is something that is very common. It's not that we didn't, like, when I say we, as in like my generation people, didn't have anxiety. But at that point of time, one, we didn't have the label called anxiety. Sometimes when you label something so specific, it is right there, like, even though you don't want to see, you have to see it kind of situation, right? Where, because now you just suddenly labeled it, you know um, but before I say something, I really want to understand what is it that you are going through right now. We don't have to necessarily dive deep into the reason for the anxiety as much, but what are you feeling? What are you going through? What are your emotions? And how you, with your awareness and understanding about it, how are you trying to help yourself?
Well, obviously without going too deep into it, I guess my anxiety is very like I spiral. I overthink about I'm thinking about like 10 million different scenarios that could happen. I'm constantly overthinking. My mind is literally so consumed that it starts affecting my daily life. Like literally last night, like I could not sleep because I was just spiraling and I was overthinking. And I literally had a headache because of how bad my anxiety was. Like it was like and how bad my spiraling was. It was starting to manifest like physically. Um, I was literally just telling you this like this past hour, like I've just been spiraling a lot and like I just felt like so sick on the inside. Like literally like I was so nauseous. I felt like I was gonna throw up. Um, which might be extreme. Not everyone's anxiety like physically manifests itself. But that's just how I am and I'm gonna keep it candid. I'm gonna keep it real. Like when I get anxiety, it does get that bad. And my usual coping mechanism is really trying to just attack my own mind because like this anxiety is really just caused by my mind going into overdrive. And I'm aware of that. So my point of attack is to just like kind of conquer my mind and kind of like shut it down and like stop that spiraling because like with that spiraling it's just one thought after another thought after another thought like it's just your mind is racing. So my first step is to really just like stop my thought process right then and there. um and then from there I try the idea is try to connect with yourself a little bit more, try to think about the situation with a lot more awareness. Um, However, I've been really struggling with that in this particular situation. And that's honestly why we ended up bringing it up because like I'm trying to do all the usual like things and stuff I do to like take care of my anxiety, but like nothing's working. So,
So um so what happens is, one, we need to understand layer by layer, right? That anxiety is a byproduct feeling or an emotion that's happening because something is causing it, right?
mhm.
But so before you can deal with anxiety or even come to anxiety, you need to understand go deeper. The whole idea is to really go deeper to find the issue, the root cause of it. If you will not find the root cause of it, you will, it's like bandaging on the surface. And that's not going to help
Mm.
because you want to heal. The whole idea is that you want to heal, you want to resolve the issue, whatever that is. So, first and foremost, the thought is that there is some situation that has happened, right? It could be any situation in anybody's life for that matter. So, some situation has happened. Now, it has happened. But where is the anxiety part or the anxiousness? The first feeling is being anxious. That anxiousness is coming from the fact that whatever the situation is, you want the outcome to be positive.
Mm.
There is an expectation of what you are thinking in your mind. No matter whatever happens, in the end, this should be the result of it. So now you are not even living in the reality of what is happening. You are constantly focused and bypassing everything that's happening in between in the movie, and you just focus on the end. And when you focus on the end, the fact is that you know also that you don't have any control on the end either, because how it is going to pan out and what the end result will be is again an expectation on your part, but you don't know whether your expectation will come true or not.
Yeah.
So now you're constantly thinking of that expectation
Mm-hmm.
without even considering what in the reality your events or series of events are happening.
Mm-hmm.
So now you're not living the experience, you want to bypass the experience. So now when you bypass the experience, then obviously you are very focused on the expectation. The expectation you don't know because it is an uncertain expectation. Uncertainty to the mind, which it cannot comprehend, will become anxious. So you are the reason of your anxiety. Why? Because you are constantly putting your mind in a space which is absolutely uncertain. And uncertainty will definitely make your mind anxious because mind always needs to be in a space where there is some answer to it,
Mm-hmm.
even if it means the answer is not in what the mind is expecting. It could be the other way around, but it needs some answer. It cannot be in an uncertain space.
Mm-hmm.
An uncertain space will trigger your mind to be in an anxious that's the anxiousness is the response of the mind then.
Mm-hmm.
So now going back, how are you going to deal with your anxiety? Because what happened was, because you have been so anxious for so long over the same issue, now you say it's anxiety because now it's too overwhelming.
Mm-hmm.
Now it's so overwhelming that you're totally consumed by that thought now. Now you're not even in the reality. You are constantly thinking of everything that you can think of to come to some conclusion.
Mm-hmm.
So you're not even letting the reality or the time bring that situation or that conclusion to you. You are only creating in your head all the conclusions, all the permutations and combinations, and this and that and that. It's that the thing that so many combinations.
Mm-hmm.
But then again, you're living in an illusionary world then, because none of the thoughts that you're thinking is true. That's your illusionary world. It's your mind created space. It's
Mm-hmm.
like you're just going on and on and on and on because you just don't know where to stop it now.
Mm-hmm.
Because you're living in that world.
Mm-hmm. Okay, period.
Now comes the question that once, when you were saying that I'm trying to stop, I'm trying to attack it. it really matters that what kind of words you use for it. You coming from a very negative space saying that I'm going to attack this, I'm going to control it, without realizing that if you could control it in the beginning, you would not even create an illusionary world in your head.
Yeah.
So you could not control. So for you to have this paradoxical situation where you think you can control, but you could not control, hence you have reached where you have reached thinking about it. So the idea is not to control anything. The idea is to live the time that is going.
Mm.
The idea is to live with the acceptance that whatever the outcome would be, I am going to be okay.
Yeah.
Because the anxiousness and the anxiety part comes from the fact of that you will lose out.
Mhm.
Whatever the situation is, if it is not in your favor, you're going to lose out. And the feeling of loss is not always happy. You don't want to lose out. It's
Mhm.
again basic human nature. You want to always gain or at least have it, not lose, not completely lost it, right? But that is where a human being, and I think that's where parents' role becomes very important, because a child is triggered by so many situations, not just at home, but outside, which the parents don't have control over.
Mhm.
But then when parents start acting or reacting, then they are pushing those emotional instability into the child also.
Mhm.
And then the child is carrying the same emotional instability when it is dealing with its his or her own situations.
Yeah.
So as a domino effect, the parent is also not emotionally stable. They have passed it on to the child who's not emotionally stable,
Mhm.
and now the child is dealing with anxiety and depression, and the father is, and the parent is thinking, oh, why are you anxious and depressed, you have everything in life.
Yeah.
It's not about everything in life, it's about whatever is there in life. I'm okay, I
Mhm.
will be fine. I have this life. I can open my eyes, I can breathe, I can smell, I can taste delicious food. I have so much more in this life to be happy and grateful about, that in case if one thing doesn't go my way, it's fine. As I always say, don't give any person, or I'm sorry about that. I usually do that, but of course, don't give any person or any situation so much control that they can make you happy or they can make you sad. No one on this earth is worth that except you yourself.
Mhm.
You must know at any given time how to keep yourself happy. And even if you're being sad about something, which is again a human reaction to certain situations in life, that's okay too. That's okay too. Because every experience, every situation will teach you something in life.
Mhm.
And those are very valuable lessons in life that will shape you to be or become who you will become.
Mhm.
So, so in the end, it's about acceptance.
Mhm.
Acceptance that your life is wonderful. You are alive. That is the biggest blessing someone can have, that you are alive. And your life is so much worth more than whatever you're facing in life.
Hmm.
Because you're alive, you can at least face it.
I guess my struggle would be obviously these are things that I'm aware of. These are things that I do implement in my life. But when the fear is just so overwhelming, how do you bring that perspective back in?
So the fear, again, it's like you have to have this internal dialogue with yourself.
Hmm.
So for that, you need to first create a space in your mind where your mind is even ready to have that dialogue with you. And that's why, I mean, people might think, oh, there goes this whole meditation and blah, blah, blah. But people don't understand. And people who do understand, I mean, they live by it. But having some sort of a meditative practice in your daily life will really give you that little space where your mind is even ready to have that dialogue with you.
Hmm.
Right now, your mind is in so much overdrive. It's like a wild horse which is running and you're trying to put a saddle on it. It's not going to work out.
Yeah.
Somewhere the mind has to stop, or the horse has to even take a break from running so that you can put the saddle, or you can even stand next to the horse. Right now, the horse is running wild. How can you control it? You cannot. So, you must have some sort of a meditative practice in your daily life, or at least the times when you are in such kind of overdrive, or in situations where you are not able to bring your mind to a space where it can even have a dialogue with you. So, one is to establish some sort of practice. People like to listen to music, people like to sit and read, people like to cook, people like to clean their room or closet, or just anything. You have to find that thing that will give you that time to just take a break. Once you are there, once you're in that pause state, your mind comes to a pause. That's when you start having the dialogue with your mind.
Hmm.
Only then you'll be able to implement all the awareness that you're talking about. Implementing means what? You are basically trying to have a dialogue with your mind and saying, okay, let's look at this situation in a very objective way. Let's step out of this circle, this situation, and then look at it like a movie. And then let's see what's being played in front of us.
Hmm.
And then let's deal with it in what best possible way we can. But you're not able to give your mind that space to begin with.
Yeah.
So, first, you need to have that practice. In your case, you're very fortunate to have me.
This is just a glazing session for you.
No, but of course, it is a blessing for you. But you can have. I mean, we are having a podcast. You are given an opportunity that you can talk and discuss.
No, yeah.
Any, not many kids would have that opportunity. Then what do they do? And this is not something they can find in one day. So either you have a friend who can really, really advise you or listen to you um, without being non judgmental. Even that is very important because 90% of the time, friends will push you and tell you, oh, how can this happen? This is so unfair. This is that. Even though they are trying to empathize or sympathize with you, but it's not going to help you because it is pushing you further into the same space. So, having a friend with whom you can talk, who can give you a different perspective, or finding a practice, going for a walk, or just anything, you must be able to find that space.
Mhm.
Once you have done that, a lot of your situation will improve
Mhm.
because being able to even make your mind come in that space, that is half the battle won.
Mhm.
Then you can start thinking of how you can start implementing your awareness. And as I said, that it is The fear, and the fear is coming from where? The fear is coming from the loss, and the loss is happening where? It is happening in your head and in the future. It's not even your reality. It's not happened already. It is something that you're thinking will happen and you don't want it to happen. So now you're thinking, okay, what can be done? But it is all in your head space. You're playing that whole movie in your head space. It's not even your reality. It's not happening.
Mhm.
There could be series of events leading to it. But then at the same time, this is life. So
Yeah.
as much as everybody might be like, oh, life is so unfair, but that is the reality of life. It's not unfair. It's just how it is.
Mhm.
Life did not stand up today and say, oh, I am going to be unfair with this person and I'm going to be fair with this person. No.
Mhm.
Like salt's nature is to be salty, sweetness is always sweet. The same way, this is just how life is. It's not fair, it's not unfair. It is.
Mhm. Bars.
And it's beautiful. Believe me. Right now, I just turned 50 last month.
Big
Been through
smile.
been through a lot in life. But now when I look back in retrospect, it was beautiful actually, because my life has shaped me to be who I am today, and I'm very happy with myself. The version of me that is today, I'm very happy. I would not trade anything. And you also, if you look back, there were so many situations that have been unhappy, and you would bawl over it, and it's like the world has come crashing down on your head, and that's the end of the world for you. But now, when you look back in retrospect, what do you feel?
I'm very grateful for all of it. Like I wouldn't be able to sit here today if I had not gone through everything that I went through, whether it was positive or negative. So I guess I guess that's another thing. Like in the moment, it's so hard to realize that like this is very momentary. Literally like 2, 3 months down the line, I'm gonna look back at this and still be grateful for whatever happens, whether the outcome is good or bad. It's just very hard to have that perspective when you're in the moment.
And that is what is awareness. That is what having a different perspective helps you. But it's not easy to keep implementing it at all times. And you guys are young, I've seen people in their 30s and early 40s struggling with it. It's not easy to keep that awareness all times. But if you can find some sort of a balance in your life, and I guess that is something I wish I can do more and more of that with people, is to early on in their younger age figure out or have some sort of an exposure to your having like a spiritual understanding of your existence, not just the religious part of it, not just the physical part, like you're a human body, you have to achieve certain things, you have to sleep, you have to eat. That's the physical aspect of your existence. But there is a larger purpose of the life that you have. There is, you are alive and then you're a dead body. The fact that you're alive and there is so much you can do with this life and which is worthwhile. These small setbacks of life, they're not even setbacks, they are basically experiences that will help you learn. So if you give the perspective to it as learning or stepping stone, rather than victimizing yourself and saying, oh, why this with me and why this is happening and this is so unfair, then you are choosing to be in that space. But if you suddenly start looking at them as your learning experiences, then they're very valuable, extremely valuable.
Mhm.
It's really about how you choose to look at it. But this perspective doesn't come by one person saying it and you suddenly up implementing it. It is something that is again slowly and gradually introduced in your life since childhood.
Mhm.
And you kind of, it's again like a conditioning, but a better version of the conditioning than being rooted in your physical achievements and failures.
Mhm.
Because when you suddenly look at things with spiritual understanding, then there is no failure in life.
Yeah.
Every experience is here to teach you something. So, how can it be a failure? It is always making you a better version of you. So,
Mhm.
how can it be a failure?
True. You're not necessarily wrong.
But now, listening to me for so long, tell me, what do you think? How would you look at your situation differently? Or, as you said, you had most of this awareness. So it's the implement, what part of it resonated the most with you?
Um, I think the part that resonated with me the most, which technically I brought up, but I think it is the to be grateful part because all these experiences, they are leading me to somewhere better, somewhere higher, whether it be in my own energy or in my own spiritual journey, whatever it is. I think I really do have to just have that perspective. Like, yes, in the moment, I feel like crap. There's a lot going on, but I've been through this cycle before. And if I could get out of it back then, I can get out of it now. Like this situation, it might be a different person that I'm dealing with, or the circumstances might be a little bit different, but it's still like basically the same process. Something happens, I spiral, I think about a million different things, I have a ton of anxiety, and then, yada, yada, yada. I've had the same experience like last year over something else, or when I was in high school, even when I was younger. So, and if I can make it through every single one of those experiences, I can definitely make it through this. And I think that long-term perspective, you should not lose because that's what's really going to end up pulling you out. Along with everything else you said and everything else we've discussed, those are very important things too. But that long-term perspective just gives you that little bit of hope, like it's going to be okay. Like no matter what outcome it is, whether it's good, bad, positive, negative, like you're still going to be okay.
That's good. And what you said is very true. The long term, in fact, I would say long term perspective or your focus of where you want to be,
Hmm.
right? It's in the end where you want to see yourself.
Hmm.
Do you want to see yourself where you are today, in the situation that you are in today? Or you have already envisioned yourself to be there, and you, not with this or with that, or if this happens, then no, you individually, you have a vision for yourself and you want to be there. Everything else on the way will come, go, stay, not stay, whatever, doesn't matter. You need to make sure that your vision is intact, and that's where you are focusing on.
Hmm. Yes.
So,
Doesn't it?
how do you feel now
I feel a little
versus when you
lighter.
started the podcast?
Huh?
When you started the podcast versus where you are now, like in this last 20 minutes?
I feel a lot lighter. Definitely. I think I just really needed to remember that perspective of like, I've been through this before. Like, I will be fine. It's genuinely, I think what really sends me into my spiral is that fear of pain because no one wants to put themselves in a situation where they get hurt. And one of the outcomes that I was thinking of really, really sent me over the edge in terms of pain and how I felt. And I did not. like that outcome. Like even thinking about that outcome, like I'll be honest, I started sobbing my eyes out the other night because I was thinking of just what could happen in the situation that I'm going through right now. And I started sobbing my eyes out because I was like, this pain is literally physical. Like I do not want to go through this type of heartbreak. But I think sitting here now after listening to all of this is not the first time I felt pain like that. I will say it's not as extreme, but it's not the first time I felt pain like that. And if I can conquer life before I can conquer like nothing's changed. I'm still me. If I had the ability to do it back then, especially when I was younger and less aware, then I definitely have the ability to do it now too. And I really just have to stop letting that fear hold me back from what I have to do. And for like, standing up for myself, doing the things that are best for me, like it's gonna be fine. It's just that hope, like it's gonna be fine. Definitely I feel a lot lighter.
Is it a false hope or you really believe in that hope?
I think I really do, not I think, I do believe in that hope because I just need, I think what gives me solace in this moment is knowing that no matter what happens, I will be fine. And, as humans, we look a lot at patterns, you know, like we're very quick to point out patterns in our own behavior and other people's behavior in life and whatever it is, right? The pattern has always been something happens, but I come out on the other side regardless. I'll still be fine. I've still made it 21 years of my life. So who am I to sit here and say that the same thing is not going to happen this time? Granted, life, you never know what happens. However, like, you know, I think I just definitely have a lot more hope that I will be fine.
Okay.
A very candid episode.
No, that's good. But then, as I was saying, that you have been exposed to this kind of awareness from very early on.
Mhm.
Someone who doesn't have this perspective at all, and someone who's really struggling with things, and how would you tell them, or what do you think would be the best way, who doesn't have this kind of spiritual awareness?
Mm,
What would be, say you have a friend who's going through something, who doesn't have this kind of spiritual understanding about things, or what would you tell them?
I mean, usually when I'm having this discussion with my friends, like I put it in like logical perspective, like you've made it this far. Like no situation is not conquerable, right? Like everything can be conquered if you like genuinely put yourself at it. Um, Obviously when it comes with anxiety or whatever it is with your life, like it's hard. It's hard to take yourself out of that spiral. But I don't think you necessarily need spiritual awareness to realize that if you can get through every other situation in your life, then you can still get through this one. I think that's like you don't need spirituality to understand that like if you've made it this far, you can keep going. I think that's just like a basic fundamental like law in like life. It's like, okay, I made it this far. Why like what is stopping me from still going and still pushing through and seeing what comes out on the other side, regardless of what the outcome is? I mean, the I think we've talked about this in the episodes before, but like part of being human is having the will to keep going and to keep growing. And to do those things, you have to keep pushing and you have to keep seeing what could happen. And if that's the mentality you go through, like you start implementing that early on in your life, it becomes very easy to just keep pushing then because you're just like, yeah, like this is literally what life is to keep pushing, to keep growing, to keep seeing what's going to happen, to explore, to see what life has to offer, to be grateful. Like these are all just fundamental parts of life. Um, so yeah, I don't think you necessarily need spirituality to understand that.
So, would you, as you were talking, I was thinking about this. Do you think an exercise like this, where in situations when you are in this anxious mode and the mind is in an overdrive, and you're constantly thinking more from the negative space, like how things can be wrong. You're not thinking anything positive, because if you're thinking positive, you'll not be anxious, right? The
Mhm.
anxiety is coming from the fact that you're constantly thinking of the negative outcomes of it,
Yeah.
whatever the situation is.
Mhm.
Do you think if someone would just take a pen and paper and just start writing in that moment of all the good things that have happened, of all the good experiences, of all the good achievements, even if it is a very small one, like, just constantly writing it down on the piece of paper, and then actually going through that list, would you think something like this would give them a better perspective, that
I think it would. Obviously, it teaches you to be grateful in life.
because
However,
you're constantly using the word grateful, like, you've said that somewhere you are trying to bring that positive thing, that you're grateful for many things, so you're trying to bring that, but then again, you have that space to talk, so you are able to,
that's what I'm
but
saying. Like, if we were to give an exercise to somebody, instead of writing down what they're grateful for, I would have them write down every situation that they remember has caused them anxiety and how they came out of it. Because when you're going through this spiral and you're going through this, like, like you're going through this overdrive and overwhelmingness of thoughts, it is very hard, or it's very easy to forget that you have pulled yourself out of this situation before. And you forget how you did it too. Like you don't just forget that, you pulled yourself out, you forget how you did it too. I would say have people write down every single time they've had anxiety this bad previously, or any type of anxiety. And what did they do to conquer that situation? Because then it gives you that list of resources that you've completely forgotten about because your mind is thinking about everything else and it's right there in front of you. And now you know that you can, like you've done this before. It gives you that, clarity, like you've done this before, you can do it again, gives you that hope. And it also gives you those resources of just like, okay, this is what I've done in the past. This is what I know works for me. Let me go down the list and try everything, and something's bound to work.
that's a good thought, actually. That would be good for someone who has absolutely no help. But if something that can help them in that moment where they don't need something expensive, but just a small little quick exercise, and I think a reminder to them that they have survived and they have done well to be where they are today, and they can do it again.
Yeah.
So you can do it again.
Definitely, I think I have a lot more faith in myself, in the universe, in destiny, and God, that no matter what happens from this situation that I'm going through, like I will be fine. Regardless of whatever pain or whatever outcome happens, whether it be positive or negative, like I will still be okay.
So the pain that you're constantly referring to, you do understand that that pain is really in your headspace, because
Yeah.
it is a small pain, but now by thinking over it for so long, we literally watered it so much, it's become like a big plant now.
Mhm. I think that's also, in the cycle of just like the spiraling and everything. But yeah, going back, from the beginning of the podcast episode to now, I definitely feel a lot better. Definitely a lot.
Are you looking forward to coming home tomorrow?
I am. Oh my God, yes, to the viewers. I'm finally seeing my mom after what, 6, 7 months?
6 months.
Yay. I don't, are
Yeah.
you excited to see me?
Oh, of course I am.
Thank you. But anyway, I think that's a good place to end off our episode for today. Definitely so glad we ended up doing this because I feel so much better now. But yeah, as always, please like, comment, share, and subscribe. Leave any comments down below if you want us to do a topic specific episode or just any feedback. We would love to hear from you guys. But yeah, thank you so much for joining us for this episode, and we'll see you guys next week.
as I always say, that thank you so much for doing this with me. And even if it helps one person, it is worth it. I didn't realize it is that one person today would be you, my daughter. But it is worth it. I'm happy that we were able to come on screen and just talk, and it gives you some perspective and clarity. And definitely, you seem to be more happier right now.
Yeah, definitely. I feel like you can tell the difference.
And it's absolutely worth it, whatever we are doing. And I hope it helps other people too.
Yes.
So thank you so much and see you next week.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.